Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at this guy, the Stormtrooper Squad Leader 6-scale figure by Hot Toys from The Mandalorian. Let's see how he turned out.
Greetings. Please log in. Username authorized.
Alright, first up as always is the box. And it's pretty much everything we've come to expect. Nothing new here, just the angled window onto a photograph of the figure itself. Hot Toys does break up the standard box with a cigar band, typically one that's indicative, thematic if you will, of a particular genre of figure within the Star Wars canon, so to speak. In this case, with the Mandalorian, we've come to expect a sort of golden, warm-toned color palette on that cigar band, which will give us an opportunity to look at a few other photos of the figure on the box itself. In this case, we've got a really sweet secondary photo of the Stormtrooper Squad Leader wielding that E-22 double-barreled blaster that everybody went so crazy about when we first saw it with the Shore Troopers in Rogue One. Rotate around to the side, you've got that nice, cool font indicating what figure that it is. I don't know what font that is off the top of my head, but it looks very Imperial-esque, kind of like a Roman font that you'd see like chiseled into the wall of some ancient white building. Coming around the back, as we've come to expect, also is the typical legalese, whodunits, whatnots. On this side, we also have another photo of the Stormtrooper with that E-22 double-barrel blaster. But enough talk about this box. I'm kind of curious to see what everything looks on the inside, so let's get to it. Okay, first up I want to show you guys the interior art on this sleeve that they always include that adds, I don't know if it adds just a certain level of protection or it's just more for aesthetic effect. Either way, it's perfectly functional, serviceable for our needs here. And my needs personally are just inspiration. And you can see that this is a really solid pose and a really solid photograph of the figure in, I'm guessing it's in a photoshopped environment. Yeah, that's definitely Simi Valley back there. So, and I know that Hot Toys didn't fly all the way to California to get a photograph. But yeah, looks great, identifies the trooper, identifies the franchise. As a 1/6 scale figure. Love that pose. Everything about it is spot on from a 6 scale photography perspective. But enough of that. Time for the reveal, and there it is. Now, obviously, I had this open and I took all the plastic off of the figure and everything. And I even took out the little guys. There's actually a couple of them. They've got them around here somewhere. But the little extra wrist pegs. But look at this, it looks phenomenal. There's great weathering going on with the figure. It's very subtle. Just if you get up close to the camera here, maybe you can tell. But there's a couple little elements I noticed. The first thing that I noticed was when I saw this little, what looks like a crack here, and I hope that it's showing up on the in the light. It might be blown out. That's just how fine these bits of weathering are. These little scratches on the armor. Probably some of the finest line work I've seen done so far on Stormtrooper armor. It's really beautiful to look at. This looked, when I first saw it, I legitimately thought that it was damage to the paint or to the helmet, a crack in the helmet. That's how realistic it looks. But it turns out that it actually was visible on the prototype images. So yeah, definitely a thing that was supposed to be. Coming around to the back, really minimalistic. This guy has not seen a lot of combat, or he's not going to see much more, spoiler alert, or he's really taking great care of his armor. Yeah, it's hard to say which. There's a little bit of lint there, probably could have done without. But yeah, great looking figure overall. Onto the accessories, you'll see that we have this is the E-22 double-barrel blaster rifle. It's a really sweet design. You can see that it incorporates elements of the E-11, that being based on the Sterling submachine gun from World War II times. Really cool idea. I liked it a lot when I first saw it on a Shore Trooper figure, and I think that I'm not alone in that. Oop, upside down. Speaking of E-11s, there is, just gonna hold these things up side by side so that those who may not be in the know can see. But yeah, you can see that here and here, they share the same elements. It's very much based on the same gun, much as the Clone Trooper blasters were based on the same gun. But yeah, it's pretty much functional. I think that this pops down, but I'm not going to do it because I don't like playing with fate, ladies and gentlemen. Great looking. Yeah, the lines on it, the details are really sharp. Very subtle weathering on it, just right in the places that you would expect on the edges there where they might actually be bumping up into things more often than not. So yeah, looks really good. This grenade pack, which was originally meant to be designed to be a lightsaber holder on the original Stormtrooper, but now is revealed to be a grenade. Magnetic. pops onto the back of the figure just like that. I think I got the side right even, so yeah. Cool. Variety of hands. You can see we got fists, we've got trigger hands, we've got relaxed hands already on the figure. There is a gesturing hand, which I'll probably implement. Yeah, where'd that come from? There's a gesturing hand here that I will probably implement in my posing, and at some point, because that's just, he's a Stormtrooper commander. He's a squad leader. He's supposed to be gesturing and sending commands. You can see the base is the sand base with the 2 feet print that we've come to expect more often than not from Hot Toys. But yeah, moving forward, let's go ahead and get this thing onto the table, actually this table, and let's do a round of poses with it. All right, here's the Stormtrooper Squad Leader out of his box. So cool. Really love the leather look of this pauldron is really on point. It's really strong looking shiny leather shiny black leather, not quite patent leather going on right here, and just a natural reading orange. The shine on it, the efficiency of the surface of it is really solid here. One thing I want to talk about briefly is this E22. I went back and rewatched that scene, or that whole battle sequence in the tragedy, and for the life of me, I couldn't find a single trooper that was carrying an E22. They were all sporting the classic E11 blaster, which is fine. I love that. If you just think about it though, if you had taken this gun out of the alignment, you'd have 5 hands on E11, the grenade, and that's it. So instead, you've got this E22, which before this, and I think this is still accurate, but before this had only been included with the Shore Trooper 6-scale figure, the original release of the Shore Trooper. So now you've got this, and this is a gun that really features pretty prominently in the Mandalorian and other bits. I'm thinking of that scene where the Mandalorian and the rest of the several Mandalorians hijacked an Imperial light cruiser. Those guns showed up in the armaments. This is a great way to add this gun to your collection if you missed out on that Shore Trooper, or if you had no designs on buying a Shore Trooper. So I'm really excited to see that included. The fact that Hot Toys actually decided to put that into the box, despite the fact that they didn't need to, kind of shows a lot to their commitment to 6-scale figure collecting as a whole. But this is a posing session, so let's get to posing on it, shall we? Let's see. I'm going to start, since this is so light, I'm going to start with a stoic pose. Hashtag stoic pose. And I'm just going to have him holding, since I've got it, I might as well use it. I'm just going to have him standing there looking cool, holding the E22, just because, frankly, I want to have the opportunity to play with the E22 since I've got it. And I'll do a few things with this gun in photography probably down the line as well. You can see the hands are really tight, and they're going to grip that, the gloves are going to grip that grip like a glove. Say that 10 times really fast. Okay. Notice that I opted to put the gun onto the hand before putting the hand onto the figure. I think that's a really effective way to save yourself a good deal of frustration. Dropping the figure is not something that anybody ever wants to do, so let's see. Everything's just so snug. So if there's anybody that had any concerns about hands falling off or anything like that, they're unwarranted. So let's see. I've got this. Pose done. Just kidding. And I think I'm also going to include this. Yeah, let's have him gesturing. I did mention earlier in the video that I might have him gesturing with this hand, and I think I'm actually going to make that happen. Let's go ahead and get this on there. Again, pretty snug fit. Now, when you're dealing with a figure that has armored bits that are loose and pop off like that, if you grip it here and try to put the hand on, then of course, well, that's self-defeating. So kind of slide that up, this armor bit up, and then grip it sort of like here by the elbow. That gives you, when you're pushing back against this part, that gives you the leverage that you need to get that guy onto there. And I think that that's fully on. It is now. All right, one way or the other. So, just a command museum pose, command gesturing museum pose. Let's get his hand up here. Let's bring that arm out level. And like he's, well, quite saying, flank them, you idiot! I really, really wanted to use that line during this sequence. sort of get... Do I want it this way? Yeah. Yeah. Get his legs slightly apart. Don't want the feet to be parallel, but don't want him to look like he's got duck feet either, so just go ahead and rotate that torso. Now, when you have multiple armor bits, like this cod piece followed by this midsection and then the chest and the belt, you kind of want, and you're going to do a torso rotation, you kind of want to rotate them in increments. So sort of start with the belt, rotate that around, rotate this a little bit further, and rotate this a little bit further. And that way, no one single piece of armor seems to be more off-center than the rest. You can just see that little line starting at the cod piece going up. This one is slightly off-center, that's more off-center, and that's actually leading the direction. So I'm gonna have, let's see, what would look like he's doing that. That's the gesture that we want with his hand. So let's find out which direction. Oh, I got lucky. I think I got lucky. No, I did not. Okay. Let's go ahead and bend that. Jeez. The thing is you can't see the wrist peg, so you kind of have to do it by touch. Let's just lower that down and get that out there. Again, I don't like things to be straight. I don't like straight lines. I'd like to use every piece of articulation that I can in a figure when I'm posing. But this could be, this first pose here, could be something that you would find attractive on a shelf. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take this down here, move this leg out a little bit more, just kind of get a little bit more dynamic action there. And with a pose like this, you don't actually need, this is a pretty stable figure. Look how solid that is. Yeah, that thing's not falling. So there's your first pose, and it's a solid one. And I really dig it. Something I should have mentioned earlier in the video is that this is more than just a repaint of the Hot Toys Sand Trooper with the orange pauldron that we saw them release many years ago. It's a great figure, but this figure incorporates all the changes that were made in the screen-used Stormtrooper armor when the filming of Rogue One began. Those changes were implemented to allow more range of motion for the people wearing the armor. They were able to sit down for a change. And those changes add to the overall range of motion of the figure itself, so that translates into 6 scale as well. Additionally, a lot of the edges for the details are much sharper than they were on the original screen-used costumes, and it looks like that's translated here as well. So really strong looking armor, nicely updated for the modern era, and I really appreciate that. I know for a fact that it's going to look really strong situated with the rest of the troopers on my shelf, and there are a lot of them, so this thing is really going to pop. Additionally, this presents, since the orange pauldron is such an icon for Star Wars troopers, this is a great way for newcomers to the hobby to implement an orange pauldron trooper to their collection. And that's about it. Let me know what you think of the figure in the comments below, and until next time, be good to your plastic. Hey, did you like that video? Be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell to be notified the next time a new video is posted. If you had questions about the items featured in this video, click the link provided under product info. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.